Hey everybody, this is Scribe 9 Games, and today I'm going to talk about Silent Hill 2 Remake. Well, I'm going to talk about Silent Hill 2 in general, but like that, I wish they fucking had a... I did it. Oh, I did it! I didn't swear until after 10 seconds. Thanks. You can't swear within the first 8 seconds. That's what buries all my videos, or at least part of it. So, I started playing Resident Evil 2 on Xbox. I'm going to speak real fast. This is the 11th time I've tried to do this video. I started playing it on Xbox. I'm upset that there's no Xbox hard copy. I told you guys it was coming out on Xbox before they even announced anything about it. This is all the stuff that took 6 minutes or so that you talk about in the last video. I'm going to get it done in the first. Whenever I do videos like this, I usually have bullet points that I would like to talk about. I generally hit all those bullet points. The problem is that in between, I usually have little things that I saw in the game that either relate to that point to support it, or are just something, it's just something cool that I saw that kind of relates to that area of the game. The problem is, in between those bullet points, what I realistically do is I bitch about something, or I go off on a tangent that doesn't have to do with anything I'm talking about, just it's like a memory that's attached to that part of the game. And then when I gather myself back to the original bullet point, I forget to talk about all the hashes that happen underneath it. So this video, I wanted to do because I have one bullet point that I touched on in 2 videos and I haven't fully talked about, and I would really like to. And it has to do with the duality of Mary and Maria. But in order to do this video, this is where I go off on the tangent, and I've had to do this. Now this is my 11th time doing the video, and the last one I shut it off at 14 minutes, so I'm pretty upset about it. This is the part that goes on too long. Established rules for this video, and the thing I am going to talk about in regards to Mary and Maria are as follows, okay? James is Pyramid Head, or, you know, a version of him that keeps killing Maria over and over again, and being the way that he is because of what he did to his wife, and he deserves the punishment that's coming towards him, regardless. So, that's that. Born from a Wish, whether we get the DLC or not for the remake, everyone is fully aware that Maria is just kind of the version that James wanted his wife to be. She's just kind of like a punk rock, very flirty, sexually driven, potentially a stripper, never flat out said, version of his wife. She was literally born from the wish of what he wanted. She is the damsel in distress, and James needs to save her. She just happens to also like drinking and going to strip clubs and wanting to fuck him in a really dirty, gross motel. Okay? She always needs saving from James, and by the point where he's like, no more saving is when it goes away. So that's established. And then the next one would be that I did a video like 10 years ago saying that Mary's body is in the car. And I know I'm not alone with that one. So we'll establish that. Mary's body is in the car. Okay? If you get the in-water ending, she has a conversation with you from the back seat. Well, her ghost, apparition, whatever. So there's a couple things that I noticed. And I know people didn't like it at first. I think a lot of the hate that I saw with any changes made to the game was people who just watched on YouTube, and they were upset that there wasn't an announcement for Xbox. I told you guys, just wait, it'll come. And then a lot of those complaints have kind of disappeared. I haven't heard any of them, considering this game just got re-released a couple weeks ago. So, that being said, this is twice as long as this. Okay? In fact, I could beat all 3 of these back to back faster than I can beat one run through of this as of right now. Cause yeah, I could probably do that in under 9 hours, and this game would take me about 9 hours to beat, 9-10 hours to beat. The reason that it's doubled is because I won't even say there's more to explore. I hate that. They added stuff. The base of the game is still there. Everything, obviously, if you haven't played it yet, everything feels familiar. the first night the game came out on PlayStation, I streamed it and I shut off all indicators of things, and I just, you know where to go if you've already played these games. I did it. I'm doing it again. I'm trailing off. I gotta stop. Regardless, let me skip what the fuck I was just saying and talk about what I actually want to talk about. So they added a lot. Don't go that way. They added a lot to the game. They added a lot primarily in dialogue cutscenes. They added a secret boss fight. It's not secret, but they added a boss fight. And they added dialogue that you can play through and never see. If you don't go out of your way to go to Pete's Bolorama with Maria in this game, you miss out an entire conversation. But I mean, so that one's obviously, it's not a requirement. It is a requirement for an ending, right? But it's not a requirement to beat the game, so you can completely miss that one. But one of the complaints that people had originally, that I even addressed on this channel, was that the voice acting for Maria was bad. It wasn't bad. She sounds done. That's what I said in the last one. Oh shit, that was the last established rule. This is not James' first time through here. It's not. It's not his first time through. He's gone through the loop before. And well, that's also one of the things that's not directly said, that's heavily implied. So I don't take the voice acting as bad, because it's not. It's bored. It's the same lady who does the voice acting for Maria. I'm Mary and Maria. So Maria, obviously, she was born from what he wanted in his mind Mary to be. But even from the first time you meet her in the remake at Rosewater Park, James's demeanor in this game compared to the original is different. He's not so accepting of her immediately. She really has to push. And I know they just extended it with, probably better voice acting, better camera work, the animations and stuff where it sells what's going on. But just, it really is the demeanor, and I don't know if it was intentional or not. It's heavy on the facial expressions. You can see it the first time they meet, when she touches him. I posted a video of this, actually. I posted this in shorts. When she touches him, and then, they have that talk. She's letting him know that she's messing with him. And she doesn't say, my purpose is to torture you, because that's what it is. But she says so many times, without saying that this is a trap. And one of my favorite ones is at the bar. I like this because this is a conversation that happens no matter what, and it was added into the main game, because when you cut through Heaven's Night in the original, it's only a little bit of dialogue. There's no heart to heart with these two. And you get to see her fail at 2 manipulations and then succeed at 1, and it carries on into the next part. And I, again, don't know if this was intentional. I would love to have a chat with the people who made this game. She tries to get him with sex when she comes out and she touches the pole and she starts spinning around, and he's, what is this? He ain't having it. Okay? She tries to get him with the alcohol. This is one of my favorite parts, by the way, that they added in, and one of the best uses of the animation. When she tries to give him a drink, as somebody that used to, I wasn't a raging alcoholic, but I know the power of suppressing shit you don't want with drinking. He struggled to say no to the drink. He didn't even say no. He just said nothing. She said no for him. So she tried to trap him with alcohol, and it didn't work. And then she used the sympathy card. Oh, I just need, everything to feel normal. Just for a second would make it worth it. And then he's not mean to her, but his response is different from the other 2 attempts. So now when we get to Brookhaven and she gets in the hospital room, all of a sudden she's sick. Oh, it's probably just a hangover. She's playing on his empathy. Right. Well, at least towards her. Um, so that was one cool thing they added. If you don't know what I'm referencing, you just haven't played the game, don't watch somebody else. It's so much better when you experience it by yourself without the background noise of the world. I mean, they will even tell you that. Wear headphones, you know? Um, the dialogue that they did, regardless of what you think of the voice acting of the characters, the dialogue they did from the originals hits. They fixed some of the wording to make it sound like two people were having a conversation instead of two people just reading their lines, which I like. I know people don't like to hear that because you're all fans of Guy Chichi. I'm a fan of Guy Chichi myself, but this one's way better. It's way better. Come on. Anyways, so that was one. The other interesting one, since we're moving into Brookhaven, and this is in the original too, and this just clicked with me. The only time that you ever see anything mean from Mary or here is when she's yelling at him, and when you're going down the long hallway after the two Pyramid Head fight, and she's yelling at him, "I don't want any damn flowers." That one. If you stay and listen to the whole conversation, she's just berating James to get out while talking down about herself. And the only time that Maria yells at James is in the basement of the hospital. Anyway, what do you mean at that shit? So I thought that part was cool. And then she manipulated him again. She screamed at him, and then she played on his empathy. I've never been so scared in my entire life. Ooh, Mr. White Knight, which is his own creation. All this is his own creation in his fucking head. Silent Hill's aiding it, but he's being tortured by his own consciousness, right? His own conscience is torturing him. He's making these scenarios up in his head. But I thought that was interesting. I mean, obviously she yells at the end, which I can't wait to get to the end, but I gotta make sure I do this right. When she yells, "You deserve to die too, James," that's not necessarily Mary. I mean, that's not necessarily Maria. So it depends on what ending you get. But the only time that is definitive that Maria is angry at James, angry, is in the hospital. And the only time you hear Mary say anything remotely mean is in the hospital. I think it's funny that once that part clicks is when Maria lays down on the bed. You get to the end of the hospital. She dies. The next time you see her, she's in the prison cell with the bed, but she's sitting in the chair. You go in there. She's dead in the bed. This time, she's got a bunch of what looks like blood and snots coming out of her nose. Kind of what would probably be there if you removed a pillow off somebody's face after smothering them. And then, the final kill where she gets stabbed through the back and the chest is she's laying down an upside down rack that's a bed frame. No pillow. No pillow on the so comfy bed in the hospital, and no pillow on the prison bed, which I thought was funny. Just James didn't have a tool to smother her because it was already gone. Okay, so I went to Brookhaven. I talked about Brookhaven. I don't have much to add to Brookhaven. They kept that pretty on pace with the original game. Like I said, they just kind of modernized not modernized. They just made the interactions feel more human than people reading their lines. But they did add the botanical garden part, which this is a part that made people upset. I literally saw a thread about this one. I was gonna say something, and this partially inspired me to do the video today, so I'm glad I actually remembered to put it in this one. When they get to the botanical garden, she tells James about a local legend about a lady who was cast off to the island, and a man in town loved her, and he used to light the candle for her every night. And he was fighting against the waves, and if he was gonna fight against the current, he was gonna drown. He basically lost the light. Okay. people got upset with that because they were like, "That's not a local. That's old folklore." I believe in Japan, it's about the reflection of the moon can make sailors go wayward or cast sailors astray. Um, and we have had the same thing here about the shadows of the moon looking like lighthouses. Like this is old folk tale. This is like House of the Rising Sun, right? Nobody really owns the rights to it. It's public domain. It has as much bearing on the story as you want it to. It can just be another thing where she's trying to do a manipulation. And that's the way that I took it. Because she detailed what's been going on with James in his loops through that story right on the nose. This is what some people didn't like it because they were like, they literally just spelled it out for you. This dude lost his light and he's following a false one. That's why he's not able to leave. However, the guy in the story ends up serving the same fate. So I ended up taking it wrong the first time. When he doesn't follow the light, he's going to drown. Well, if you keep following the light in this one, it takes you to the hotel that reveals everything and then you get to leave. So I'm not entirely sure how to take that story. But what I saw the story as was another form of manipulation from Maria. And that one failed fucking miserably. One of my favorite deliveries from James in the entire thing is you could tell he was sick. He was already tired of Maria when they got to the botanical gardens because she told that whole story and he goes, "She's not here." And then she's like, "What?" And he's like, "She's not here." And he was just done. He was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Manipulation tactics changed, right? The Pizzarama one is optional. Obviously, like I said, you don't have to go there. That's another one where I'm going to tell you, play the game. Go there. Do it. Because what happens is if you want the Maria ending, you got to cater towards Maria. This whole time you have to hug close to her. You got to make sure she's not getting attacked, except for the time where you actually have to save her. You can't bump into her. You can't run away from her. You got to stay with her. And then obviously going to Pete's Bowl-O-Rama, you can see his demeanor towards her is kind of loosening up from his standoffish one. So that's another one. Second, let me go back to the strip club for a minute. There has to be a loop where he drank in the strip club and they fucked. They had to have. And there was no dead body around Heaven's Night, so I'm really bummed out about that. But yeah, I looked all over and I couldn't find, because there's different bodies that look like James spread all through the town at different points where something horrible could have happened. And I'm like, something horrible could have happened here. There was way too many traps laid out that there has to be at least one James corpse around here. However, Heaven's Night, interestingly, is one of the only businesses that doesn't look super affected by what's going on. So obviously, Heaven's Night is all in James's head. Ending. You deserve to die too, James. I really like Born from a Wish. Obviously, you play as Maria as an intro to like, hey, James is a bad man. You gotta punch him over or whatever. The game from Maria's perspective, especially if she knows this is a loop of punishment, what a fucking torture for that lady. She didn't actually she didn't do anything wrong, but I think about that and how many times she has consciously met James, because he has pains in his head when you come upon a memory, which I imagine, if they're going through a loop, you would eventually find something that's similar. I don't know, deja vu, whatever. Maria has to know that they're continuously doing this, right? She's got to. if she doesn't, whatever, that's also sad. But I don't know. I can't imagine seeing this shit over and over again and then literally existing because of what somebody's wants and desires are, only to at the end have them say, I don't want you. Adds so much power to her pointing and saying, you deserve to die too, James. So all the extra dialogue that they added between Maria and James kind of really just add a oomph to the end of the game. Even when I go back and play the original now, I'm like, yeah, you kind of do deserve to die, you rotten motherfucker, right? So I don't know. I know some people didn't like maybe the delivery or whatever when it came to Maria and Silent Hill 2, but I'm telling you, I love it. I think everybody involved in the cast and the writing and everything did a great job. It added a level of depth that didn't necessarily take away from the original. What it feels like is it kind of feels like movie trope. It's like they want to remind you what you're doing, and that's a weird one. Which also brings me into the next. This one I just think is funny. So I was thinking about the connect. I was thinking about this while I couldn't sleep today. I wanted to do this video so bad, I just didn't know how to articulate it. So I was thinking about this video for a while before I actually recorded it, and then I did a couple takes that I didn't like them, and those are gone completely. What I thought about today was if you meet Angela, and as sad as and tragic as her story is, she's crazy, and you look at her, you're like, this chick, she is crazy. Tragic what happened to her, but the result is insane. Eddie bullied his whole life, ended up killing one of his bullies. Tragic that it got to that point. Eddie's still crazy because you don't get bullied and then go and shoot somebody and kill their dog and all that shit. So what I think is funny is that you meet them, and even James lets Eddie know, like, you're crazy, you're nuts. How does James look to Eddie and Angela? Have you seen My Dead Wife? I'm here looking for my dead wife. She sent me a letter. He's chasing around things that don't exist for other people. And the only one that gets it eventually is Angela. And the only reason that I think Angela gets it is because she's not out yet. But the fact that she never addressed her problems herself and James intervened and killed her father, he trapped her again. He fucked her over. That's why her fire is still burning while his water is dripping, right? Because that's what happens when everything starts getting leaky and whatnot. I don't like the way I said that, so I'm trying to backpedal. But it's true. Once James realizes that he's the one that killed Mary, he's guilty and he's punishing himself for it. In the original game, everything is just abandoned building, and there's a lot of rain and water coming down the basement floods and blah blah. Just a lot of allusions to water, and then so that means he's getting out at some avenue. He's getting out. I like in the remake they literally show the illusion of what Silent Hill's been showing him falling apart. The enemies stop moving. They stop functioning. They start disappearing. They did a really cool job with that. And then that makes Angela's line of, for me, it's always like this. It doesn't go away for her. So if she sees the fire all the time, her reprieve would be it not burning. And James did not help by intervening and white knighting for her. Eddie didn't really have a lot added. Eddie pretty much largely remained the same, and again, they just fixed the lines of dialogue to sound like two people having a conversation. But you kill him when his illusion's still going on. He's in the freezer full of dead bodies, and then the the meat storage locker. It didn't really change for him. I assume that the cold in the meat storage and somebody always chasing him is probably what his Silent Hill is like. But James has to look crazy to him. I don't think James killing him was part of Eddie's retrieval plan either. Okay, I'm running out of steam. But those are some cool observations, at least cool to me. I mean, I'm gonna watch this video when I go to work so I can see what I said and if I fucked up somewhere. But thank you guys for watching. Once I finish Silent Hill 2, because I'm taking my sweet time since I already beat it on PlayStation. Once I beat Silent Hill 2 again on Xbox, I have a longer video. I've been collecting clips and stuff for, and I'm not putting a promised date on that at all. Anyone who's here for collection videos, there will be more collection videos. You guys can't tell, but this is actually on a different side of the room. It's in a different area completely of where I've been doing my videos last time. So, like I said, once renovations in this room are done, my whole collection will be back out and I can do those videos. Thank you guys for watching. I'm glad I kept it under a half hour. Yeah. Goodbye.